And now we are live again for the, I don't know how manyth time, to our Sunday Talk Within the Nine-Sided Circle. Welcome, everyone. The subject tonight is love and loving kindness from the point of view of the Sufi tradition. It's not going to be all mushy like some people might expect. So, I'm going to introduce you to two words or concepts, two words and concepts. The first word comes from the Arabic, and it's ishq, and it means love. It's actually where my name comes from. Yeah, so mushtaq means passionate or ardent, and it comes from this root. And the second word, I know this from the Farsi, from the Persian, it's mehrabani, mehrabani. And it literally means kindness or loving kindness. And these are two very important concepts within the tradition. I'm trying to think. Ahmed, a quick question. In Arabic, kindness, is it the same? Because I only know this word from the Farsi, so help me out here.
Kindness in Arabic means عطف عطوف.
Abuf.
عطوف.
Okay,
kind,
so,
yeah.
Yeah. So there is the Arabic for this as well. Now, these are two concepts. One is passive, the other is active. Now, you have that in the notes. Ishq is love. Mahrabani is loving kindness.
I have that in the notes, yeah. It's just that the way that the chat sets things up, sometimes it spaces things weird, and I tried to redo it, and it just like did the confusing thing I was trying to make it not do, despite
Okay. Darn that chat. We shake our fists at it.
that. Plus, you know, with the Arabic script in there, it's just being a little bit wonky. So,
I know.
sorry.
I always do them on two different lines just because, you know, you got to go one direction for Arabic and Farsi words and the other direction for English words, and nobody knows what the hell it's doing. And
yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that the way that the chat likes to do it, like if I say more than one thing, it just adds it on to my last line as opposed to making it a new message, which is
silly.
Silly, yes. So, yes. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so here is a question. What is love? Don't everybody answer at once. Oh, come now. Anyone? Someone? Well, Ahmed says, love is like honey. You have to try it to be able to know what it is. This is probably quite true.
Mark says presence.
In part, not completely though. So, love is it's like a magnetic field. If you are present, then you experience the field, and you are drawn to the subject of your love, not the object of your love, because if there is object, it's not love. There is something I want you to think about. In the world of love, there is no object. What does that mean?
Ahmed says no attachment in love.
This is true, not in the deepest portion of it. So I'm gonna read you a little something from Ibn al-Arabi. He says, "My heart has become capable of every form. It is a pasture for gazelles, and a convent for Christians, and a temple for idols, and the pilgrim's Kaaba, and the tables of the Torah, and the book of the Quran. I follow the religion of love. Whatever way love's camel takes, that is my religion and faith." So there is Arabi trying to describe that. So has that not revealed itself to you? Yes, no division. When I was young, I came to the beloved's door and I knocked, and she said, "Who is it?" And I said, "It's me." And she said, "Go away, because you are no true lover." And I went away for a while. And sometime later I returned and I knocked, and she said, "Who is it?" And I said, "It is you." And she said, "Enter." That's a Sufi story. So let me give you another poem. Yes.
I just want to read what she said so that people who are watching this later can catch it. So Nancy said, no division between the loved and the lover. That was a question. Yeah.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's a subject to subject type of relationship.
Yes. There is no love between subject and object, or object and subject. Let me give you another example. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediment. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixed mark that looks upon tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height's been taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error and upon me proved, I never writ nor no man ever loved. That is William Shakespeare, his 116th sonnet, which happens to be a personal fave of mine. Shakespeare could have been a Sufi from time to time. So, why am I doing examples of poetry and that sort of thing? because you can't approach this directly. So you approach it through simile and through metaphor and through example in the world. It's like Ahmed said, it's like honey. You have to taste it to know it. So one day, some people went down to the river and they found Mullah Nasruddin there. And he was rescuing the scorpion from the water. And of course, the scorpion stung him. And he dropped it because it hurt, and it fell back in the water, and he rescued it again, and he stung it, and it stung him again. And this kept going on, but he kept rescuing the scorpion. And somebody said to him, Mullah, why do you keep rescuing that scorpion? It is going to sting you. And Mullah Nasruddin said, yes, it is the nature of the scorpion to sting. It is the nature of the human to love. Yeah, that one is ephemeral. It's not in the notes, so Kyle can't type it in. All right, so what have we learned so far? I was prepared for profound silence. I want you to know I have a whole list of poems that I'm just going to read you one after the other until the hour is gone if you guys don't talk to me.
Aaron says scorpions are pretty cute too, so there's that. I agree. I think scorpions are cute.
In their own little, kind of way.
In their own deadly sort of way, yes.
Yeah, they're cute unless they find their way into my shoe.
Oh, no. No. Not cute scorpions.
No. So, what have we learned about the idea of love? Trust me, this is all going to come together. Crickets chirping. I have a sound of crickets chirping somewhere on my computer. I'm going to have to start playing it. All right.
They're cute too. Mark says that love is not an idea.
No. So this is why we have the concept of loving kindness, because that tells us what love is outside of our own skins. Love is behavior. The only true love is behavior. What do I mean by that? That's a bold statement. Okay, so you have
David makes a comment. He says, or it's a question rather, if you say you love someone and you don't do the things that mean love, you don't love them?
No, you don't. And we run into this a lot. We run into this ever so much. A man and a woman get together. The man gets angry. He punches the woman in the face. That's a behavior. What does that behavior say? Don't listen to the words. What does the behavior say?
That he doesn't love her.
Exactly.
Nancy adds, love has something to do with accurate perception.
That is probably quite accurate, yes.
Ahmed says, there's a word in Arabic driven from ishq that means two things became one, because each one of them penetrated through the other.
Yes! Give that man a gold star because that's exactly what we're talking about.
Ding ding.
Can you type out that word? Give us the word in Arabic and the English transliteration. Mushik.
Woven together.
Yes.
It means mu'ashaq. We have sort of art here that we make it for forged metal and with glass. They call it ma'ashaq. Ma'ashaq means that there's two things that comes together to form a new thing. So they became one. Ma'ashaq means that they penetrated through each other.
Exactly right. And that calls for another poem. This is from the Indian Sufi Kabir. He says, I played for 10 years with girls my own age, but now suddenly I'm in fear. I am on the way up some stairs, they are high. Yet I have to give up my fears if I want to take part in this love. I have to let go of the protective clothes and meet him with the whole length of my body. My eyes will have to be the love candles this time. Kabir says, men and women in love will understand this poem. If what you feel for the Holy One is not desire, then what's the use of dressing with such care and spending so much time in making your eyelids dark? That speaks to me, that speaks to what Ahmed was just saying. That idea of interpenetration, of creating the reconciling force, as it were.
Mm.
So, the desire for this is love. The action of it is loving kindness. The result of it is mushak, if I'm saying that right.
It was a masha.
Mashak, yeah.
I'm not sure. We'd have to have Ahmed make sure we're getting it right. But
Yeah. Well, he is very kind to put up with our bad Arabic.
Yes. Apologies.
No, the scorpion story was about God's love. It wasn't about abusive relationships.
Okay.
Mm.
No, there's a scorpion story about abusive relationships, but it goes very, very differently. And I'm sure everybody's heard that one. Most people have not heard the Nasruddin story, but there's one that goes, a man came to a river and a scorpion was sitting there. And he said to the man, carry me across. I am too small to swim this river. And the man said, no, you'll sting me, and then I'll die. And the scorpion said, no, I won't sting you, I promise. Cross my little heart. And so the man gets in, puts him on his shoulder, and he carries him across the river. And just at the other side, he feels a sting on his neck. And as he falls, he says, you said you wouldn't. And the scorpion says, yes, but I'm a scorpion. It is my nature to sting. You knew that when you put me on your shoulder. That's an abusive relationship. Do you see the difference between those two stories?
It's
I'm not
okay.
sure, except
Yeah.
that the scorpion was lying in the second one.
Yeah. In the first story, the scorpion was not asking to be saved. He was not doing anything. He was just being a bug. Nasruddin was getting him out of the water because he cared enough for him that he didn't want to see him drowned. He experienced the scorpion as an inwardness, as a living being. So in doing that, he moved into the place of loving kindness, where he was willing to endure the sting to save the scorpion. That is different than a relationship where one person goes, "You're going to hurt me," and the other person goes, "No, I'm not," and then they hurt him. Do you see the difference between those two? I mean, to me, it's very clear.
I don't know if this is relevant, but Nasruddin wasn't in the river in the first story. He's not going to die from this.
No, he's not, but it was a much less toxic scorpion.
Ah.
And Aaron observes that the scorpion was lying to itself, perhaps, and maybe it was. I mean, I always relate this to abusive relationships because when I was working more in the psychological fields, I used to see a lot of abusive relationships. And I would see all of these guys who were lying to themselves about, "Oh, I love my girlfriend. I love my wife. I don't want to hurt her. It was just something that happened. It wasn't my fault." And then they do it again, and they come back again, and the wife forgives them again, and then they do it again, and on and on and on. This was one of the main things that made me get out of regular therapy. That was very frustrating to me. So, loving kindness. If you really have love, then you act with loving kindness towards that which you love. And you experience them as subject rather than object. All right, time for another poem. I am going to read for you my absolute favorite Rumi poem. It says, "I'm drunk and you're crazy. Tell me, who's going to take us home? How many times have I asked you not to drink so much? Now I see no sober soul in town. Come to the tavern, my dearest, and taste the wine of love. For the soul is joyous only in the company of lovers. The tavern of love is your livelihood, your income and expenses, the wine. Be careful. Do not trust a sober soul, with even one drop of this wine. Go on playing your lute, my drunken gypsy, but tell me, between the two of us, who is more drunk?" As I left my house, a Sufi approached me. In his glance, I saw 100 gardens. He swayed from side to side like a ship without an anchor, while 100 reasonable men watched on enviously. "Where are you from?" I asked him. He replied, "Half from Turkestan and half from Fargana, half from water and clay and half from soul and heart, half from the edge of the sea and half from the ocean's depths."
Ahmed asks, how about the concept of reciprocity in love?
Funny you should ask. So, the Sufis say there are 3 levels of love. 3, count them. 1, 2, 3. The first level, how to describe it? So the first level of love is like, there you are, there I am. I'm going back through my notes here because I want to get this right the first time. Okay, first level of love. I am for myself, you are for yourself. We love each other, but we have no expectation or connection, really. This is at the social level. And this is the lowest level of love. The second level is I am for you, you are for me. We love each other, having mutual expectations of each other, mutual connections to each other. This is what most people think of as love. And this is what most relationships are. Mutual expectations of each other. I'm for you, you're for me. We're not just for ourselves. But then there is the love of the Sufi. This is a harder love. And it says, I am for you, and you are for whoever you choose. I accept whatever you want without any expectations whatsoever. Most people hear that and they go, well, that's unreasonable. So in the first level of love, there's some reciprocity. You know, it's like, love thy neighbor. Okay, the guy living next door to me, he's pretty cool. Yeah, I'll lend him my lawnmower. Second level of love is, oh, I have this relationship. I love my wife. She loves me. I have expectations of how she's going to treat me. She has expectations of how I'm going to treat her. As long as we live within those expectations, we're happy. The Sufi goes, I don't have any expectations. You are, the light of God shines through your eyes. I love that. You don't have to love me back. You don't have to like me. You can hate me. That's okay. Is that making everybody uncomfortable? Because it's supposed to. This is the hardest thing human beings do. Yes, Aaron, that is absolutely correct. And some people will say, oh, but won't you get taken advantage of? And the answer is no, you won't. Not if it's real.
Ahmed says, this is understood when God is the subject, but what about two human beings loving each other?
If you see two human beings loving each other, you are in shirk. Other than God does not exist. We got to go all Ibn al-Arabi on you here. There was some other stuff coming on.
Yeah, there was. Someone had a comment about self-love too. I'm lagging a bit. Let's see.
That's okay. Take your time. And David had a really good question too. We got to get to.
Let me scroll. Okay. So Aaron says, it seems like a powerful way to love yourself as well at that level. I'm guessing you were thinking about which one?
The third level,
one?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
And the answer is yes. And when two human beings are loving each other as two human beings, they're at the second level of love. That's for Ahmed's question.
I'm just waiting for the right moment to ask the other one.
Go for it.
Okay, so David asks, what does loving kindness look like at the 3 levels? So
loving kindness is only possible at the 3rd level. There is no loving kindness at the 1st or 2nd levels because there are always expectations, either of yourself or of others. Loving kindness in the Sufi term is acting with complete compassion and complete non-attachment at the same time. And we're not talking about anything fluffy here. So a Sufi can butcher a lamb and will do so during Eid. Right? So when I was a youngin', I had to learn how to butcher a lamb in the proper Islamic style. My instructor said, your job is to kill this lamb so quickly that it doesn't know it's dead until it finds itself in paradise. Because the creature should not suffer for your need for food. And Mark says, so Sufi love is also known as unconditional love, question mark. And the answer is, yeah, pretty much. It's pretty equivalent.
Nancy says, there are people who stay in abusive relationships and say they love the abusive partner.
So, love is behavior. Is their behavior loving? No. It is not loving behavior to allow yourself to be abused by another human being. That only increases their entropy. The loving thing to do would be to stop the abuse. The abuse hurts the abuser as well as the abused. Does that make sense?
I think so.
So, loving kindness, the action in love, behavior. What is the behavior? Is everything that you do have a hidden agenda. I'm kind to Kyle because I want Kyle to like me. That's not love.
It would probably annoy me too.
Say again?
It might annoy me too.
It probably would. It would probably piss you off, and you would see through me as a phony probably almost immediately. So, thoughts and or questions on this? God, you're all so quiet tonight.
It's okay to be confused. It's okay to be thoughtful.
It's okay to disagree with me.
Yeah,
I can
that
take it.
too.
Yeah. Can this be mapped on an Enneagram? In specifics, yes. In general, no, because it's not a process, or it's many, many different processes. All behavior is process, but every behavior is different, so we have to have a specific to map it on the Enneagram. So let's take another poem.
Well, first of all, from Mark.
Yeah.
Romantic love often, Mark says, romantic love often has unspoken agreements, collusion.
Yes, and that puts it at the second level of love. Okay, here's another Kabir poem. Friend, hope for the guest while you are alive. Jump into the experience while you are alive. Think and think while you are alive. What you call salvation belongs to the time before death. If you don't break your ropes while you're alive, do you think that ghosts will do it after? The idea that the soul will join the ecstatic just because the body is rotten, that's all just fantasy. What is found now is found then. If you find nothing now, you will simply end up with an apartment in the city of death. If you make love with the divine now, in the next life you will have the face of satisfied desire. So plunge into the truth and find out who the teacher is. Believe in the great sound. Kabir says this: when the guest is being searched for, the intensity of the longing for the guest, it is the intensity of the longing for the guest that does all the work. Look at me, and you will see a slave to that intensity. So you could take that poem and map it on an Enneagram if you're clever. As a matter of fact, Aaron, that might be your homework assignment for the week. Map that poem on an Enneagram. See how it fits. So, are you learning anything from this?
Aaron
That,
says
that, that
yes.
was that was a general question to all of you, not just to Aaron. What are you learning? Are you learning anything? Is this topic making you uncomfortable? Alas.
Rania says, every kind of love should be the third level. Not only, like, every kind of love should be in the third level, not only the love between God and the human.
When you become the Ansani Kamal, every kind of love would be this. Remember, at that level, there is no creator in creation. There is no object. There is just subject. Does that make sense, Rania?
She says yes. Yep.
For us mere mortals, though, we're going to experience all three of those kinds of love, or at least the first two. The third one is harder. It is hard. It is very, very hard.
Yep.
Most people, if they're lucky, will touch the second level of love and never go any further. And I can tell you for myself that I worked for many years before I got my first inkling of the third level. And I'm still working on holding that space. It is imperfect. Because basically you have to give up all of your ego in order to be that person, to be the person who can love that unconditionally and who can express that love through behavior rather than just words.
Mm. That's the extra tough part.
That's the extra tough part. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk?
Mm-hmm.
And yet there is no better game in town. So I will give you one little last story. There were two brothers, one who devoted himself completely to God, and the other who dedicated himself to their mother. After a while, the brother who devoted himself to God had a vision in which God tells him that his brother has reached salvation through serving their mother. He was puzzled and asked God for an explanation. Because, God replied, he serves the needy and you serve the one who has no need. Think about that one for a while.
I like that one.
I do too. You know, and it's not like we haven't been told this over and over and over again. Right? You know, you have heard that more than once, right? For those of you who are Christians, and Jesus said, in the end of days, there will be some who come before me, and they will say, Lord, Lord, and I will say unto them, When I was hungry, you did not feed me. When I was naked, you did not clothe me. Get thee behind me, go thou unto hell. I'm paraphrasing a little bit. And they will say, but Lord, we never said that to you. And Jesus will reply, as you have done to the least person, so you have done to me. And then others will come and I will say, welcome, good and faithful servants, because when I was hungry, you fed me, and when I was naked, you clothed me. And they will say, but we never did that for you. And I will say, as you have done to the least of these humans, you will have done to me. Same thing. Over and over again. I can find that in every world tradition in one form or another. If you understand that the only reality is the divine reality, then even the person who you detest is an expression of the divine in the world. That kind of pisses me off sometimes, because I would really like to just dislike some people sometimes. But you have to remember that everything you'd see at a certain level is just God putting on a costume for you. Does that make sense? Cool. All right. So, you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for a commercial.
Oh boy, yay.
Yay. Okay, so we still have the Ultimate Enneagram course. By now, everybody who's listening to me here has gone through that. If you haven't gone through that, you should go through that.
So that is www.ultimateenneagram.com.
Yep.
No spaces.
And it's very, very cool. It's the only course of its kind that I know of that addresses the not a personality Enneagram, the Enneagram of process, the original Enneagram. So if you like it, recommend it to your friends. If you didn't like it, as I always say, recommend it to your enemies. And very, very shortly, we are going to put the 3 forces and 6 processes, where we are completely revamping that, adding a bunch of material. Those of you who went through it will get the material as just because we like you. But when we get the package all together, that's going to be put up for sale too. And I think that it's going to be a really good product, and it's not going to be terribly expensive. We are preparing to do 2 things. One thing is we're going to talk about the rasa sadhana, the practice of the 9 primordial emotions, which sounds like it would be something out of the Enneagram, but is not. It comes out of the not exactly the Hindu traditions, but proto-Hindu traditions of India. And it is a very, very powerful methodology for understanding yourself and other people and working with the primal emotions. And that's going to be coming up. It won't happen until after the Enneagram course, but after that, we will be offering that. And we are also putting together a package on the Sufi way of health and wellness and longevity, which is a project that I've been working on for some years. And I'm very excited to finally be able to present the 7 aspects of what Sufis traditionally did that allowed them to live very, very long times and be healthy until they were old and decrepit. So that's what's going on. And you will hear more about these as we begin to sneak up on them a little bit more. Other than that, I now have another couple of slots open again for people who would like to take advantage of my ongoing special of getting to talk with me for 6 sessions for half price. I got to tell you, it's a lot of fun. I have a great wit, wonderful sense of humor. And yeah, so anybody who's interested in that or knows somebody who's interested in that, feel free. Just contact me through Messenger or email me at info@ninesidedcircle.com. That's 9-sided-circle.com. And soon, not yet, but any day now, a certain someone is going to be ready to take on more clients as well.
Oh my God, I didn't know we were going to talk about that. So yes, that's the thing too. It's something on the horizon. You can reach out to me if you're interested in doing one-on-ones with me. I think we're going to do the same half price deal for me as well, but of course we have to do an initial, you know, getting to know you kind of thing and all that stuff. So
yeah, and I will tell you, Kyle is much nicer than I am, so she has that going for her. And we will let you know when she's ready to go into that. She's going to probably send me hate mail for even bringing this up. It has to be done.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's that time. Yep.
All right. So with no further ado, I am going to turn off the recording and wish all of you a good night and good luck. Oh, no, wrong movie. Merry Christmas? No. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.